Hello, my name is Whitney Bullock, and today I will be working with you on the Viola Excerpt A for this season's Houston Youth Symphony Orchestra auditions. This excerpt is a true beast. It's on lots of professional orchestra audition lists for viola, and so it's something to get acquainted with now, and it's just super exciting that we are getting to work on it so early on in your musical career. So this is from Richard Strauss's work Ein Heldenleben, which is German for a hero's life. And so this is a 50-minute work of music just through composed, and it's one of my personal favorite pieces. It's really awesome to listen to. And there are 6 chapters in this Ein Heldenleben. First we start off with the hero, then the hero's adversaries, the hero's companion, the hero at battle, the hero's works of peace, and finally, the hero's retirement from this world and completion. Now, that is the exact point at which this excerpt begins, almost. I know it doesn't feel like we're retiring at all when we're working on this excerpt, because it's a lot of notes, it's a lot of just really vigorous playing. In fact, the marking that you see on your page that says heftig bewegt means just like really agitated and moving, and so that's kind of what we're channeling the whole time. So when you are listening to this, instead of just like scrolling through almost 50 minutes of music to try to find it, it's around 35-ish minutes into the work. And if I will put this up on the screen so you can exactly know how to spell it, but if you type in the German words for the part of Ein Heldenleben this comes from, which is Des Helden Welt flucht in Wollendang, which I don't expect you to remember right now, and I'm pretty sure I even really botched that German. But if you type that in, there's also some videos on YouTube that are musical excerpts of just the final section of Ein Heldenleben, and you'll find it. So you'll hear some low brass going bum 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 kind of sound, a lot of what feels like musical silence, and then which isn't on your page, but that's your cue that is about to come in. Okay, that's when it starts to get real. But instead of just like playing this all through super fast for you in the beginning, let's just work on it section by section. Okay, so first off, I mentioned that we were trying to channel this heftig bewegt, this like sort of violent, aggressively moving kind of spirit. But let's dial that back a little bit and treat it almost like we're practicing each flourish. And I'm talking about from the beginning of the excerpt till about 95-ish or so. So we want to make sure that we have all of our enharmonic notes really solid. We've got a good fingering from our teachers for that. So I'm gonna play, so at the beginning, that's the beginning, not how it's supposed to go. But then I'm gonna play the next flourish slowly. Okay, so one of the ways that you can really get this into part of your musical DNA is to play it with rhythms, long, short, long, short. Short, long, short, long, any kind of variation of rhythms that you can do. Play the notes backwards, play the run backwards. Kind of weird. And that's it forward. And then just really making it flourish. I'm trying to add a little emphasis on the ba-da-da-da-da-da-da to make the phrasing apparent. The next one is a similar sort of thing. innocent when it's played that slowly, but it's really hard, and I know that it is when it's fast. Just anything that you can do to kind of do it differently so that when you do it forwards and normally, it's just right in your fingers, and you can play it with some anger and angst, and channel all of that into the way that you play this. But we want to practice it really clean first. There's a lot of chromaticism in this excerpt. We are going to go through all of those little chromatic snippets together. So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to start in the very first downward chromatic, I hesitate to call it a scale, but chromatic set of notes that has triple fortissimo right after the excerpt begins. So right after, we're going to start on let's do those notes again. And 3 and 4. Okay, now let's do the next one. A little faster on that one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, now let's do the next notes slowly. Let's do that again, slowly. This one's difficult because of a shift. Let's do that one again where the fortissimo is, that starts on the B flat, and go. Okay, and now slowly let's do this next ascent up to the B flat together. 1 E and a 2 E and a. So this one's really tricky. So one way to practice it besides your arsenal of doing drones and rhythms and all that stuff is something I call stepping stones, where it's kind of like you're on a stepping stone. You play one note and then you slur to the next to test it out before you go on to the next, kind of like you would stepping stones across a brook. So we would start on that D. So again, this is before 95. 2 measures before 95, the last 8 16th notes of that measure. So we're going to start on the D, and then stepping stones would sound like this. But again, you could take your time getting to each note. Because you time to think, is it a half step or a whole step or another interval away? Am I changing strings? That sort of thing. And then as you build it up faster, your fingers start to learn where they need to go on that. Okay, so now let's talk about, before rehearsal number 95, 1, 2, 3. 3 before that, when we're on that high A natural. Now, let's play slowly that little chromatic 16th note passage right after it. One more time. So 3 before 95. I'm going to add the slur in. And we want to make sure that G, we can check it with our open G. The next 16th note passage. Let's do that one more time. Great. And then that gets us to 95. This is the passage at 95. I'm going to play the passage at 95 slowly for you. This passage is notorious, even the first two measures, for just being a real finger twister. Lots of arpeggios, but it just doesn't lie great on the instrument, in my opinion. But I'm going to put on an E-flat drone to make sure that I am being accurate, and you should too when you practice on your own. There we go. I'm not going to really play the rhythm necessarily, just the notes. So the E flat doesn't maybe work like right at the end, but that's okay. All right, so a few things. Be aware in the first two measures of 95, what notes are a half step across the string, if so, or a whole step across the string. And I know that we all talk about, when we do scales, half steps and whole steps up our string, but I mean across the string. So for instance, we start off in the E flat, and this doesn't matter what fingering you're using either, but I'm starting on first finger. When I go to the B flat, that's just a fifth across the string, so it's another one. Now I'm on that B flat. Oh my gosh, what is that next note? It's a G flat. I'm going to rethink it in my head as an F sharp. It's a half step across. I'll play the last three notes of the first measure of 95 again, starting on the B flat. And that's the same in the next measure. Then we have our B flat finally. And then I set myself up for success by trying to be in the lower half during that huge rest that we have. Because eventually those 30-second notes are going to be really fast. And we want to use all of our bow on the sforzando B flat. On that thing next to it. Then the next entrance, a lot of attitude in that. You'll hear in the recording lots of violins are also all through that, and we've just got to hold our own. I'll do that slowly. So this is the third and fourth measure of Rehearsal 95. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. This is the passage at 96. I wanted to take another moment to talk about the huge leap in the fourth measure of 96. Now, of course, your teacher will have given you fingerings and stuff, but I wanted to share with you how I approach it, and hopefully it resonates and you can use it. So after we end on that I'm thinking enharmonically, the E sharp, after all the 16th notes, the beginning of the third measure of 96. In that quarter rest, I find a D harmonic on my D string, and that kind of anchors me in the area that I need to be successful in that little run coming up, because the D flat that I'm going to end on is going to be right next to there, and then it's all just going to be right there, and we know where that D harmonic is. So maybe when you're practicing it, you can kind of add that in. It just helps you practice anticipating your shift, getting up and around where you need to go, and hopefully having fun while doing it, because it's very heroic of Strauss to put that in the viola part. So, and you're going to sound awesome at it. Now here is a run of Excerpt A at quarter note equals 65. Now, it is important to note that there is a tempo change right when this excerpt starts. It goes into almost double time of what it was. So my counting right when I first start is going to seem a little weird, because the click that I'm hearing is actually would be eighth notes, what the conductor is doing, and then all of a sudden when it goes into common time becomes quarter notes. So it might seem a little weird when I'm counting it off. So just disregard anything that might seem weird. It's just a way to get me started. Ready? Go. Four. Just hopping back on here to say I told you to set yourself up for success in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th measure of 95 by starting in the lower half. And when I played that through at 65, I didn't set myself up for success at all. And so I'd like to try it again, and hopefully together we can set ourselves up lower half and also save our bow in all the rest of the other held notes together. So let's try the third measure of 95 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lower half. Save. 1, 2, 3. Yay, I feel better about that, and I hope you do too. Next up, a run of the excerpt at quarter note equals 95. Still a little under, but hopefully slow enough that you can still hear things happening. Bye.